What's going on, everybody? For USA Muay Thai, my name's Nate Freeman. I'm joined today by Caia Knoles, who is the number 3 ranked American 51 kg fighter, and on January 28th, 2 weeks from Saturday, excuse me, she's fighting at Freedom 11, fighting for the 52 kilo Freedom USA title against Ashley Blanco. Caia, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. I'm glad to be here talking US Muay Thai and all of that. So
Yeah.
here we are. So, like I mentioned, you're fighting Ashley Blanco for you are fighting for Herb title
Mhm.
here in a couple of weeks. So, just tell me how everything's going in terms of preparation for the fight, how you're feeling, and all of that.
Yeah, training is going very well. I had just fought in December, so I pretty much went from one camp to the next. So keeping things rolling, doing good.
Yeah, you sounds like you like to stay active and just go, like you said, from one camp to the next. I assume there weren't any like you weren't banged up at all or anything like that where you had to recover or
Yeah, not too much. A little bruising on the shins as expected, but nothing too bad. Yeah.
so you do have a belt from that fight. You won that fight and you
Yeah.
won that promotion's title, and now you're going for a second belt here with Freedom. And you're, like I said, fighting Ashley Blanco.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me about maybe what you see in her, maybe some holes in her game that you see that you think that you could exploit, anything like that?
Yeah, so I wasn't completely aware of Ashley prior to the last few months, but sort of seen some of her stuff. Mainly what Freedom has posted, and she looks like a very strong opponent. Lots of left kicks and like good forward pressure. So I think it'll be a great challenge going against somebody who has that style. I also like to come forward a lot too, but I think in my own game, I've started to implement you know, a lot more movement. So I hope, that sort of thing comes out.
And what does that, you know, is that something that you've been training on a lot lately? Is movement and um, sort of being more mobile when you're fighting? Is that a lot of
Ye-
what you've been working on lately?
Yeah, I think so. In the last couple years, especially, I think when I had first started, it was all about just like going forward and being as active as I could. But in a lot of my or in a couple of my last few fights, it's been a lot more circling, going backwards a little bit more, which is kind of cool, like to mix it up.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Um, so then, um, I'm curious. I like to find this out about some fighters about a couple of different things. One, how much you mentioned that you watched Ashley some on Freedom Socials and all of that, but how much do you like to get involved in like watching the opponent's film and things like that? Because I feel like there's two sides a lot of the time. Like some fighters want to know everything about their opponent. And like, if they do this, I need to do this. And then some people are like, I'm just going in to get in a fist fight and whatever happens, happens. So where do you sort of lie on that spectrum?
So I generally don't watch too much of my opponent's fights or styles. I like to get somewhat of an idea of how they move and such, but mainly I listen to like my coach in training and try to play my game as much as possible.
That makes sense. And then my other question related to that was focusing on mental preparation. What do you, if you do anything, do in terms of preparing yourself mentally, whether that's in camp, getting ready for the fight, or before the fight, or anything like that?
Um, I think a lot of my mental game just comes from training. I do I've started to implement more visualization like in my day to day. But nothing too out of the ordinary there. Just like knowing that I'm going into every day with like the best intentions I can in my training, and having that confidence in what I've done there. I think that's what helps my mental game.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Moving on, this is the first time I've talked to any of the athletes since we have officially been recognized as an Olympic level sport by the U.S. governing USOC.
Mhm.
We've moved from the USMF to USA Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So I want to get your thoughts on that and what that means for um, not just the sport in general, but the sport in America.
Yeah, I think it's great. I know that USA Muay Thai has been working really hard for years, on this, so I think it's a great step forward for American Muay Thai. I appreciate all the work that they've done. They started doing the qualifiers tournament and really started prioritizing like the athletes and getting everybody a lot more exposure, just so that we can have a team like we did last year at the World Game qualifier, or at the World Games. I'm sorry. And like in the future, I can see that America's gonna go even further in the Olympics. It's really cool to see. Um, yeah.
Does the fact that maybe for you personally, does the fact that we are that much closer to the Olympics and being able to compete in the Olympics is being that much more of a possibility? Does that obviously it excites you, but it does
Yeah.
it motivate you to want to work harder and be sure that you do well in um, last year it was the U.S. Open qualifiers. This year it's the Adult National Championships. And then obviously in the future, there'd be qualifying for the Olympic Games as well. Does that motivate you to work harder so that you can be seen on that world stage?
Oh, definitely. That's such a dream of mine. That'd be amazing. In the short term, I'd love to make it back on the national teams for IFMA, but being in the Olympics would be just even so much more.
Absolutely. Um, so then I'm curious as well, maybe Um, obviously, I'm sure you get asked this a lot as a member of the Boxing Works gym,
Mhm.
that you are affiliated and work with two of the best American Muay Thai athletes around today, both competing in one championship right now, in Jackie Boonton and Janet Todd. Just talk to me about your gym at Boxing Works, what that gym means to you, and maybe your relationship with the coaches and Janet and Jackie as well.
Yeah, so I started at Boxing Works and I've only been there, so you know, the very first day I didn't know who they were. I didn't know who Brian was. It just kind of ended up there. And ever since the beginning, everybody's been so welcoming, and uh, you know, everybody's been so helpful. And we really are like a family at Boxing Works. I jokingly call Janet and Jackie my big sisters, even though Jackie is a little bit younger than me. But yeah, it's amazing, and it is like kind of funny to remember that like they're the best of the best when I'm like seeing them every single day. But I do appreciate having uh those inspiring figures and those people that care about my career and want to see me get better too. um it's really amazing to have them in my corner.
Absolutely. And I want to backtrack a little bit for those that don't know, maybe if you don't mind sharing your story about how you got started in Muay Thai. You said that you started off at Boxing Works, obviously. So how did you find your way there originally?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, my dad was doing MMA out of a little gym in Hermosa. I went with him to a class and they happened to be training jujitsu. And it was cool. Nothing against jujitsu, but I was like a little 16-year-old girl rolling around with a bunch of like big dudes. And I was like, I'm not really into this. I want to try something more striking based. And Boxing Works happened to be right next door. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that place out, and the rest is history. I've just been there since. They've moved a couple times, and I just keep moving with them.
Man. And then obviously it's the beginning of the year. People like to make, some people call them New Year's resolutions, some people just call them goals for the year. Um,
Mhm.
I know that your first goal is going to be winning that freedom belt.
Yeah.
But beyond that, what other goals do you have for the year, both professionally as an athlete and maybe personally as well?
Yeah, so definitely win the freedom title. Um I do want to go back to the qualifiers tournament, and I'd love to qualify for the 51 kilogram spot on the team. And from there, go to IFMA medal. That would be an amazing goal. And generally, I have goals that like just, every year they renew. And I try to beat like the amount of times that I fought in a year in the following year. So last year I actually didn't make that goal. I had a hard time finding a lot of fights in 2022. So I want to beat my record of 5 fights from 2021. Um, and so those are my goals with Muay Thai, at least.
You said you had a hard time finding fights last year. Is that just because logistics and stuff couldn't get worked out, or was that due to injuries as well, or
Mainly logistical. Just finding other females, especially nearby in California, was a little bit more challenging. I think after doing like the national tournaments and stuff like that, maybe. Um, that's why, this year we're starting off going to the other side of the country. There's just a few more people to fight out there, I guess.
that makes sense? And then one of the last things I want to add or say is I think that you have maybe the second cutest dog in the world. Um, the first is obviously mine, my baby girl Misha. But
Or
your
acceptable.
dog Rocky is just so cute. Oh my
Oh,
goodness!
thank
So
you,
I'd love for you
the
to talk
baby.
about um, a. I know that she's a rescue. Maybe about what how you went about finding her and how you went about um, making her um, your pet and all of that, and then
Oh yeah.
maybe some of your favorite things about her as well, or
So
him.
Rocky's
Him,
a
Rocky.
Rocky's a
Rocky's a
boy.
pet. My bad.
He's sleeping right here, right now, right in front of the heater. We So me and my boyfriend have been living together for a couple years. Our last apartment didn't allow dogs, so we moved last year. Mainly looking for a place that allows dogs, just because we've been wanting to adopt one for so long. Um, but we found a rescue called the LaBelle Foundation, and they rescue all types of dogs, but I think one of their specialties is rescuing pregnant dogs from shelters, and then facilitating the birth. So his mom was actually rescued. Um, you know, Once he was 2 months old, he was, on the market, I guess. And the adoption agency reached out to us, actually, said, we have a litter. Are you guys interested in any of them? And found Rocky, and now he's our little baby. I take him
And
everywhere now.
yeah, I see that you take them on walks, but you also sometimes have them in strollers and stuff too. I just
We have a backpack for not yet a stroller. We we were looking at them, but that is a little silly. He can walk, so I don't know if he needed a stroller. But
yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
I take him to work. I take him to the gym. He really does go everywhere with me.
yeah, I love it. I love it. Um, Okay, so before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. How can people A, follow you on social media, and then B, I'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors, specific people, or anything like that.
Yeah, so you could follow me on my Instagram. It's Caia on Fire. That's pretty much it. sponsors, I'd thank my buddy Anthony, who's helping me out with this camp. His business has generously, you know, sponsored me for the last couple months. So thank you to him. And of course, thank you to my gym, Boxing Works, Speed of Sport, my conditioning gym, and all my family and friends that help me out on the daily. I couldn't do it with the whole team. Everybody's so great.
This has been Caia Knoles. She is competing on January 28th at Freedom 11. She's looking to earn the 52 kilo Freedom USA belt. Caia, thank you so much for your time and best of luck in your fight.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.